All right, welcome to the 2022 Regional Conference season. We're going to walk you through Central Kentucky region and what to expect, where to go to find resources, just to make this easier for everyone and make sure that all the advisors and students are on the same page. So we're going to kind of just walk down through the conference webpage dedicated to regionals. This is just kentuckytsa.org/regional. You'll see regional deadlines for Central Kentucky. You need to register by February 11th. Any early entries are due by February 16th. On the 18th, if there are dragsters or structures or children's stories that you want to drop off, that's also our pre-judge night. So hopefully as an advisor, you'll take advantage of that and come. We'll feed you and just do a whole lot of judging that night at EKU. So more details to come on that. That'll be February 18th. The conference itself is February 25th, and there is a conference fee of $25 per chapter to offset the cost of our registration system that we use. We want to walk you through all of these links, but first we're going to talk about where to go to find the event guides in case you're a new advisor you may not know. So once you go out to the National TSA Conference, the National TSA website, click on Login. Once you log in as your advisor, you're going to see all of your students that you've registered. We're focusing on the Total TSA tab, the red tab here at the top. Once you go into that, if you're a high school advisor, you're going to have access to the high school event guides. And so you can come here and see a lot of different links for that, but you're most interested in downloading the competitive events guide. You can download this two different ways: as a PDF, which will be about a 300+ page document that'll have all the events in it, or you can download it as a zip file, and each competitive event will have its own PDF. So two different ways to download. Just simply click over here, it'll download both of those so you have that. And that's going to have all the rules and regulations as well as the rubrics so you can help students prepare for those competitions. If it's a state-only event, you can log into the Google Classroom that you have access to. Come down under the Classworks tab, state-only event guides. Here you're going to have PVC kayaks. You're going to have social media engagement. Some of these will not run at regional, but just so you know where to come and get these. Flight simulation, and then the drones, the unmanned aerial vehicle. Again, the full specs for those events as well as the rubrics are included there. I'm going to turn it over to Andy. Andy's going to talk about the entry limits and some notes as it relates to the Central Kentucky region. So Andy?
Okay, once your students decide what events they're going to compete in, quite often we have to make some adjustments to the Total TSA guide for our time frame and our logistics. So we have created a entry limit guide that you'll find a link in the conference tab. You'll see here, this is the middle school, the high school is similar. It'll show the events that are at the region. It'll show the minimum entries, whether it requires between 2 and 6, 1 and 6, just 1 or 2 or 3. Some team events are individual or team, so you'll notice that, and those are the ones that will be 1 to 6. And then how many teams, the maximum teams that each chapter may enter in the event. Then over on the last column, the event notes, any changes that we have had to make for logistics or time, you will notice in that link. And it's the same for middle school and high school. You'll find the same type of information in that document. Mark, back to you.
Yep. Yeah, we just need to limit because we're so short on time at regional conferences. So some of these will just be abbreviated. Just a reminder, we don't qualify from regional to state. So if your students can't compete because we don't offer it at regional, or they don't do so hot, that regionals is really meant to prepare them for a state conference. I want to cover parking and kind of where you're heading on that day. So there's a map out on the conference, the regional conference webpage. All competitions, for the most part, will be housed in Wayland, just like in years past. If you're used to coming, that's right off University Drive. You can drop students off right in front of Wayland. The award ceremony will be over in Coates in the Brock Auditorium. Like I said, bus drop-off is right here. Case dining will be open that day for your students to go and eat as they have time in their schedule. And the other two events that you're going to have to walk over to are if your students are doing middle school or high school flight or kayaks, middle school and high school kayaks. After bus drop-off, your bus can go wait over here in the Big E lot. So make sure your bus drivers have this map so they know where to go park for the day before they come and pick you up. I am going to turn it back over to Andy, who's going to cover themes for the day.
Okay, many of our events have themes. Some of them are built into the Total TSA guide, and some of them have themes that are already assigned from national. So you'll see at the top of the list, there's a link to the themes and problems tab on the national website. For any state events within the state where we have had to provide a link or provide a theme for or problem statement, those links are provided in this document as well. Some of them will not be available until a certain period of time before the event. Problem solving, for instance, will be handed out at the time of the competition, as would CAD events and similar events. For instance, a theme that is within the Total TSA guide, just for point of emphasis, because it was missed by many last year, the Dragster Design High School. The theme is within the Total TSA guide. There was a theme for last year, and the guides are produced for 2 years at a time. So there's two themes in there, one for last year, one for this year. And this year statement basically says that all wheels must be outside the body, therefore there cannot be shell cars. So make sure that you thoroughly review your documents and any themes or problems either on the national page or on the links that we provide to you here within the regional tab.
Yep, so these are all located out here. This is the document I just showed you. We'll post prompts as they become available. So for example, Tech Design Middle School gets posted on a certain date and time, and that is located, that's going to be explained here. So it'll be emailed out, and it'll also be posted within this link. So this link will go live once we start posting those prompts. Moving on, we're going to cover the agenda real quick, just so you understand what's going to happen on the day of, as well as what's expected beforehand. So let me zoom in a little bit. So once again, I mentioned any online submissions, those are going to be due with these links over here. So these are just Google Forms. Your students upload PDFs or images or videos accordingly. More details are in each link of what's expected. So some of these, for example, kayak is going to be online, but it's also going to be on site. So they're going to submit their documentation so we can prejudge that early. And then on the day of, they're going to race their boats in the pool there at EKU. Earlier in this video, I mentioned structures and I was mistaken. So structures is not a drop off. They're going to bring those on the day of. But children's stories and dragsters need to be on site on the 18th. So if you're coming to help us judge as an advisor, you can just bring them with you that day. Otherwise, they need to be mailed or dropped off to the address you see here, and that's going to be Deshauna is going to handle all that. So if you can't make it to prejudging, you need to drop those off early or the day of. But hopefully you can help us prejudge on that evening, the February 18th. And then the day of competitions, those are listed here. What room? We're still working on our judges, but we'll have judges secure on that day. So you'll have a judge in the room for each of these events. Tells you what room number to go to and at what time. And then again, lunch, we've kind of carved out a little bit of time for lunch, but that can be done as it fits your student's schedule as well. And then finally, we'll be in Brock Auditorium from 2 to 3 for the awards ceremony. And then departure will occur after that. So buses will need to come and get you around 3 o'clock, maybe a little bit early. Finally, I want to cover registration. So the link, you click on the registration link, it's already open. It's ready for your students to be entered. So let me show you what that looks like on the advisor side. So I'm logged in as Bardstown High School right now. And then you can see Aaron is the chapter advisor for this school. So this is going to pull students from the national database. So if you go in and you start adding students and there's not a student listed, that means you didn't add them to the national database. So you need to go out to your national link. So back here where we talked about earlier, and make sure you add those students here, and then we can pull them in to the regional site. So if Aaron has added his students, which we hope he has, if I go to add students, you can search for a student, or you can just click search, and it's going to show you all the students that you've added to the national database. So let's say this student is going to attend regional, this student is going to, this one's not, this one's going to, just for the sake of showing you what this looks like. Come down to the bottom, we can submit that. So now if I go back to the registration list, I now have 3 students listed plus the chapter advisor. And now I need to say which events these students are going to compete in. So we can come over here to edit and select events. And I can simply come down, this student, let's say, is going to compete in CAD architecture and on-demand video. So on-demand video is a team event, so I need to make sure that my team numbers line up. So this student is going to be on team 1. And once again, it shows you, like Andy mentioned earlier, minimum and maximum for individuals, minimum and maximum, plus how many teams you can register for your chapter. So if I come in, I save that, you can see that student is now competing in 2 events. This student, let's say, is going to do CAD engineering and on-demand video on the same team. And then finally, let's say this student is doing extemporaneous speech, just for the sake of showing you that. So you can, now if you come down here and view registration, this is going to show you you've registered 3 students, you're going to pay that $25 chapter fee, and then here we can see which events they're registered in. So an easy way as you build this out, and then once you're finally ready, you can just simply submit that. If you're not ready, you can always save and finish later. It's going to kind of log you out of the system and just tell you that it's been saved, but you do need to come back in and finish registration and make sure you submit. That's going to generate an invoice so you can pay your fee and also get all your students into the system so they can compete on that day. Andy, anything else you want to add?
No, I believe we've got it pretty well covered. But as always, if you have further questions, please contact me or Mark. We'll be glad to answer your questions.
Yeah, we want to make this as easy as possible for you to register and get your students ready to compete at the Central Kentucky regional event that we'll host there at EKU. So reach out to either of us. You should know our email addresses, our cell phone numbers. Happy to help as you work through the process. Thanks for your time.